Hi everybody, thanks for coming out. It's amazing to see people sticking around after David Rosenberg's talk, but yeah, thanks a lot. I'm also a shareholder of Energy Fuels, and everything you said about the rare earth industry is absolutely true, and they've definitely got a good handle on things, so look to Energy Fuels. As far as uranium goes, Baselode Energy, we're a relatively new company as of June 2020, and we've made a discovery that we're very excited about. We think this is probably one of the best uranium plays out there in the market today. Just a very quick summary. We are looking to raise some money at the moment, so hoping to expand on our discovery results today. The discovery that we made last year, we call it ACIO, and it is near-surface, basement-hosted, high-grade uranium mineralization with mineralization starting as shallow as 25 meters beneath the surface. I'll put a lot of that into context for you because it's really mind-blowing when you think about it. We're a fully funded company. We've got $11.5 million in treasury, no flow-through commitments, and good insider control, and also held by the Sprott ETF. Myself, I've had a track record of discoveries, which can always get into later. And if you're here and you know uranium, then it's hot. Uranium's got nowhere to go but up. So we'll focus on ACIO, which is circled in the red. That's the Hook project, and ACIO is at that green dot. You can notice right now that it is outside the Athabasca Basin, and there's a very strict reason for that, and it's part of our exploration thesis that we're specifically looking for these open pitable style of deposits within this jurisdiction. So ACIO, the bulk of the mineralization we see starting at 25 meters depth down to 190 meters beneath the surface, with the average of that being 110. So it is very near surface. We also see mineralization continue down to 320 meters, so we know that it's deep. It's 175 meters wide, 375 meters on strike, open in all directions still. We took a shotgun approach to exploration this year, trying to figure out where the higher grades are, so that now we can go back in the coming year and just do a more refined approach and start targeting those higher grades, because that's where you add tonnage. A lot of intercepts. Each of those sections have had intercepts over 0.5%. If you want to put uranium percentiles into context that a lot of people understand, I like to talk in terms of gold. If you assume $1,600 of gold, an ounce of gold, and $60 a pound of uranium, the 0.1% U3O8 has a gold equivalency of 2.5 grams per ton. So when you start seeing what we consider to be high grade being 0.5, that gold equivalency is 12 grams per ton. When you start talking about mineralization starting at 25 meters beneath the surface, tell me a gold company that would walk away from 12 grams per ton, greater than 12 grams per ton within 25 meters of surface. I don't think that exists. I don't think anybody would. 25 meters, that's how far it is. Everybody understands hockey, we're all Canadian, right? 25 meters is the width of a hockey rink. That's it. You can skate from one side to the other. And you start digging away at all this stuff, and there it is. There's your mineralization. Five car lengths. How many of you walked down the sidewalk today? Guess what? You've already walked to 25 meters, probably just going back and forth in this place alone. That's nothing. 25 meters is insignificant. So there's your 25 meters, and it's all covered in overburden. What is overburden? It's the stuff that the glaciers left behind. It's sand, it's clays, it's boulders. You don't need to blast. All you need is heavy equipment for that. I've talked to project management professionals who have done open pits. They say that could be excavated readily in less than a year. So if you've got mineralization at 25 meters beneath the surface, you can excavate the overburden and have your ore sitting right there in less than a year. You can theoretically mine that and have a return on capital within 12 months. It's a pretty interesting scenario, but that's what we set out to look for with this company. We're looking for these near-surface, high-grade, open pit style deposits. If we go back to the gold equivalency, 0.1% being 2.5 grams per ton, look at some of the values that we're posting down there. Hole 69, 0.9% over 31 meters. So these aren't just little 3-meter skiffs. That's 31 meters of continuous mineralization. That's a broad intercept. Within there, you're seeing 1.9%, extremely high grades. These are typical Athabasca grades. This is what the Athabasca is known for, and that's how you build tonnage. That's how you really get a lot of pounds in the ground. We've got a lot of number of other other big hits as well. Some of the ones that I'm very excited about, though, are, we had a news release today with hole 66, which is in line with hole 63. So right up in this area, this is hole 63. So basically 2 drill holes in that little pod, but we're pretty confident that we've just skimmed the edge of something. We have a lot of identifiers in the drill core and in the chemistry telling us that there's something bigger there. So as we go into drilling next year, that's going to be one of our focus. We really want to define these near surface zones as quickly as possible because of the ease of mineability that is presented here. We think this is a project that could be expedited into a production state in a very quick time frame. Whereas some of the other deposits we've seen in this basin that were discovered in the 70s and 80s still remain in the ground with no development on them. And that is the problem with the Athabasca Basin, and that is a problem that we are trying to fix and again, proof of concept. So there is your overburden. It's boulders, it's sand, it's clay, and then you hit bedrock and it's mineralized. That is an easy situation. You've got high-grade mineralization, visibly high-grade mineralization within 50 meters of surface. You've got visibly high-grade mineralization at 200 meters depth. The system is big. We see high-grade all the way throughout it. Another part of the piece of the puzzle, I guess, is infrastructure. We are in the right area for infrastructure as there is a permitted mill over at Key Lake. That mill has capacity as it stands right now. Cameco, who are the owners, Cameco and Orano, who are the owners of the mill, just released today that Key Lake is back into operation. They are not at full capacity and they won't be at full capacity for a while. So if there's a chance to get into development at Accio in a very quick time frame, Key Lake would be our mill of opportunity. The distance from Accio to that haul road that you can see between McArthur River and Key Lake is about 30 to 40 kilometers. That's not a very short distance. We assume that based on conversations we've had with Ministry of Highways and other people in the area, it's about $1 million per kilometer to put a road up in this area. So if you're looking at 30 to 40 kilometers of road to put into this discovery, it's not a big capex. You throw in power lines, you throw in a couple trailers. This thing really speaks for itself, and it just really has the potential for being a low capex, low OPEX operation with very quick return on investment and capital. All of our projects were staked within this area, specifically to be close and have that infrastructure approach to catharsis, or to the Key Lake Mill. You can see our catharsis project there. The Key Lake Road runs right through catharsis. And that is where we will be exploring next year. Oh, my slides are out of order. So the concept behind the Athabasca 2.0 is not that we're looking for these deep deposits. As you can see, everything on the right-hand side, all the gray, those have been around for decades, and they still haven't advanced. The only two that have, Cigar Lake, McArthur River, both of which have flooded twice because that sandstone presents an engineering difficulty. All of the ones on the middle and the left-hand side, they've all been mined out via, guess which method? Open pit mining. Or for some of the other instances, such as Uranium City, Eagle Point, they've been mined by underground adit access. With no sandstone, you can work with much lower grades. You can, with near surface mineralization, is same story. You can mine these things at much lower grades, as has been historically proven in this jurisdiction in multiple areas. It's not just one deposit. There are at least 3 different areas within the Athabasca that have had low-grade open pit mining operations. And all of those open pits have built the mills in the area. If we don't have to build a mill, that's a huge cost saving right there. So we're looking at a very heavily fortified exploration project next year. We're aiming at about 32,500 meters. And we're going to be focusing on Accio, obviously, because it is our flagship project. But we're going to look at the Hook project as well. There's a lot of targets on there that we really like, and we'd like to bolster Accio with more mineralization within proximity to it, as we, as I've sounded very bullish that Accio will go forward. Catharsis itself will also be drilled, and that will be our first project coming up next year, simply between January and March, simply because the logistics makes sense. Again, I mentioned the road was there. It's so much easier to get to. We don't need the helicopter requirements for Accio, but getting into March until October next year, that will be the full focus on Hook and Accio. So Accio itself is going to receive about 20,000 meters of diamond drilling with two diamond drills, focusing on the near surface high-grade mineralization and trying to build up that resource that way. We've got some other targets within the area that we'll throw a few thousand meters into. And again, if we can start defining more mineralization within this area, it really builds this into being the next best thing in the Athabasca Basin. As far as regionally goes, we've also got some amazing targets, especially the two on the left-hand side of the image there. You can see that whole structure extends from Accio down south to where we have a couple of targets. So those are definitely going to be some of the ones that we drill next year as well. And then Catharsis, as mentioned, we will go there in January and March, simply because the logistics work. All of our targets are within 1 to 5 kilometers of the highway. Our camp's going to be right off the highway. Another easy logistical situation to work with. We're using the same geophysical targeting methodology that led to the Accio discovery for Catharsis as well. So we're hoping that some of these targets also yield new discoveries, as if we can make a discovery here, then I think Baselode will go through the roof. And those are some of our target areas. You can see the breaks in the conductors, very similar to what we targeted at NextGen for the Arrow discovery. I was the lead geologist behind that discovery, so if any of you know NextGen, I played a very heavy hand in targeting that and drilling that off. Our Shadow project, we're looking at doing some airborne geophysics in the area in there as well to advance that project. Just the plans that I've just reiterated. Currently have 86 million shares outstanding, so we remain very tightly held. 16% insiders, 5% Sprott ETF, which were all purchased off the open market in March of this year, so 6 months after we made the discovery. And it's been a great support to see the ETF back us, as a lot of investors who are looking to get into uranium look to the ETFs for guidance. 11.5 million in the bank, market cap's around that 50 million mark, and 30 million warrants and options. Most of those warrants are in the green. I think our average strike price is around 50 cents, and we've had about a 90% warrant execution rate up to this year. So it's been great to see the investors want further exposure into Baselode and exercising those warrants. So we're hoping that trend continues as we continue. Our share price is currently beneath or below discovery levels, which is kind of odd. So our discovery was made just on the left-hand side of that. When we were down there at about 60 cents, and then we made the discovery and peaked up to about $1.50. So it's a great opportunity to get into a very exciting story, very early stage. We're really 12 months into it, with nowhere to go but forward. I think we're a proven team in everything that we do. We just like to think outside the box and challenge the norm. But the uranium market is what it is, and it's going to be hot for the next coming while. That's who we are. Baselode's part of the OR group of companies, an absolutely exciting group with a lot of really good companies and projects on the go. I'm also CEO of Metal Energy. American Eagle Gold just had a very amazing. Actually, American Eagle Gold and QC Copper and Gold both had incredible news releases over the past week. I would encourage you guys to please check those out. You would not be disappointed. That's Baselode Energy. Thank you.